I probably.
Oh, shoot.
Are
It's
we
going
good now?
so well.
Yep.
We're gonna have to do it again.
No, it's okay. We're already live.
Oh, we're live. Here we go.
Epic fail for our first ever
Epic fail. We have a
introduction.
brand new introduction that's not up here. Our green screen's green. Yeah.
It's
So
green.
we'll get it going, guys. Here. Welcome to the Hardcast Podcast. This is episode 8. We're like old hat at this thing. We've been doing this thing for like 2 months now. You guys are lucky. You're coming in when we're polished. Look how polished we are. Green screen and the intro fell flat. All because I didn't enter the studio on StreamYard. Anyway, I'm Brian Baker. I want to introduce Dr. Trey Kerr.
Thanks, Brian.
The Hardcast Podcast. Today, we have Pepper Rusher and Laith Ibrahim joining us. They are the anchors, I would say, the anchors to the Wiggins wrestling squad. What do you think, Trent?
To say the least. I don't know. Anchors can either drag you down. I don't know about that. These two lift
Stability.
them up. I say,
Stability.
these guys are the comets. These
Okay.
guys are the shooting stars. These guys
All right.
are the bright ones.
Into the stratosphere. Wiggins wrestling. Guys, I know that we have a limited number of kids on this team, right? How many kids do we have? 7,
Including us.
including you two. And
But-
we've cracked the top 10. We're ranked in the top 10, and we don't even fill all weights, man. How does that happen?
You top three are pretty darn solid. What do you got going?
Yeah. Well, the 7 we have, which is exactly half out of the 14 weights. I mean, the 7 we got were real tough.
Yeah.
Really push each other in the room. And Coach Christensen does a good job of making sure that the limited amount that we do have
Right.
are tough as nails.
Nice. Nice.
What are the weight classes that you guys have covered?
Heavyweight, which is me. 215, Michael Pacheco. 190s, Pepper. 175, Jorge. 165, Cameron. 155.
157 was Riley.
And then 126 is Reagan.
Okay.
Well, real quick, before we get started, let's introduce ourselves. Let's introduce you guys to the millions of watching around the world on YouTube and Facebook Live right now. Because we're taking off like a comet. This podcast is like a comet. I was telling Auburn earlier, this is probably the hottest podcast on the planet.
We just don't want to burn out too fast.
Right.
That's the thing. We got to get longevity.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. Like Haley's comet comes around every 300 some years. I might have made that up, but it comes around a couple times in your life.
Fact
Anyway, Pepper, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them what you're doing, how long you've been wrestling, all that stuff.
All right. So my name is Pepper Rusher, obviously. I'm the 190-pounder here at Wiggins, and I've been wrestling since I was like 3. I don't really remember wrestling around then.
Right,
But
right. We start them
my dad
young in
says.
Wiggins, barely walking. We have them tussling.
So
Go
I
ahead,
still have my
Pepper.
little baby shoes too.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
pretty cool. But we're here to make our run for state.
Nice. Starting today.
Yes, sir.
Starting today, regionals, Northeastern, junior college.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, going to make our presence known. Laith, how about you?
Yeah. Laith Ibrahim. I'm the heavyweight, best heavyweight all 4 years. I started wrestling my freshman year, and I was doing basketball and wrestling, and then I decided to just do wrestling. And so I did doing it.
No, you can. You guys can say whatever you want in this thing. Yeah.
We got an hour.
Yeah, we got to fill time. Yeah, so
Yeah, and you don't have to be so proper. Really, only Brian's wife and my mother are watching. So
Yeah.
it's
We
not.
have 5
I mean,
people watching.
we
Guys,
have
well, thank
5.
you. But you don't have to be prim and proper. Be nervous. It's just
right.
just guys talking. Act like you normally do.
Hey, Trent, can we get Hardline in the back? Are you're working on that? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a big deal. Anyway,
The green
I
screen looks good.
probably screwed it all up coming in. But anyway, heavyweight, we're talking like 285 pounds.
Have you ever wrestled a guy that heavy?
Yeah, I've wrestled people that have to cut to make it weigh like 287, and
What are you weighing in, Laith?
right now I'm like 260, which is the
So you-
heaviest I ever wrestled.
Okay.
Last year I stayed, I was only like 232.
And give us your guys' history at state. Pepper, starting with you, leading up to this year. You came into this week ranked number 1, right? That's where I had you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know about that. I had a bad weekend last week.
I heard. Let's discuss that. What happened?
So first period, I think I was up by 4 or 5.
Who we wrestling?
Ray Kid, Peyton Wade.
Okay.
So I was up by like 4 or 5, and then got kind of gassed second period.
Right.
I was just, I don't know, stopped wrestling, kind of just like wanted to shut down and then stall up the rest of the match.
Right.
And I was sitting on bottom, and kid rolls me in a tilt, gets his points, and then I'm down by a couple, and I didn't push through at the end.
We had to
So it
scramble.
bit me in the butt. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is this the first time we've wrestled Ray this year?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And so he came in on my standings. You were ranked 1. This is 1 versus 2, basically in the state.
Yes, sir.
All right. Laith, you're 1 right now in the state as well. Is there a Ray kid second behind you as well?
I believe the Ray kid is second.
Did you wrestle him as well?
I wrestled him last week, and the funny thing about that is I asked Coach Christensen to get a tech ball, which is when you're up by 15.
Right.
And he never let me. And then he got mad at that tournament at Ray. So he comes up and tells me, he's like, this is your only chance. So I go out, and halfway through the second period, I took hold.
Oh my
Guys,
goodness.
can you explain to the commoner out there what tech fall is?
Or the basketball players. Basically.
Yeah, tech fall is when it's like a mercy rule kind of when you're up by 15 points. So then they just call it a match.
Gotcha. So it's like getting 15 runs in the third inning of a baseball game.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you're up by 15, then they call it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is
So
that a new rule? 15 run?
10
10
run.
run.
I think it's 15 in the third, 10 in the fifth.
Okay.
Or that's co-ed softball. Anyway, so Laith, you're coming in with the history of being a 2-time state champion at heavyweight, right? Going for 3 right now.
Sure.
Looking pretty promising when you tech fall the number 2 ranked kid in the state in the second period, right? So we're looking pretty good, right? So we're confident going in.
Have you faced any of the other competition that you're seeing out there right now? The third, fourth, fifth guys?
I know I wrestled the North Fork kid from North Fork at our home tournament. He's top 5, and so what I did there is I didn't get a tech fall, I got a tech pin. So I was winning by 14. I put him on his back, and if I would have let him up, it would have been a tech fall. But instead, I pinned him. So it was a tech pin.
Nice.
Smart, buddy.
And you both have, when I was looking at the standings, Ray's big time team, correct?
Yes,
Meeker's a big time team.
Yes, sir.
And they both have kids in your weight classes ranked in that top 5. Have we seen Meeker at all this year?
I don't.
Not
I've
this
never
I know they're
wrestled a
far,
Meeker
far
kid.
away. Yeah.
The only time I wrestled Meeker was last year in the semifinals.
Okay.
Is it the same kid?
Yes, okay.
Ever have you?
No, I've never wrestled.
Right. So how we feeling going into regionals, guys? We facing Ray again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they'll be there. So we'll be paying attention to that, seeing how this Peyton kid, will you probably see him in the finals?
Yeah, most
That's
more than
the way-
likely. Yeah.
That's the way it's going to work
Opposite
out.
sides of you guys are going into it, so you'll.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, I got a quick question for you. When you're talking about how you wrestle, your wrestling style, right? Some people are technicians. They work positions. See, I'm a basketball player, but look at me.
You got this.
Yeah, the technicians, they work positions. They're just super skilled in catching you in what might be their specialty move, right? You've got imposing your will, just being relentless. Like when I look at it like Mike Tyson, right? He was relentless. When that bell went off in the first round, he came out and just imposed his will. What would you guys say your wrestling style is?
I guess our wrestling style is exactly like that. We work our moves. Most of the time, we don't have kids that, like put up a big challenge against us.
Right.
So, we just roll in and work our moves through the match, like take it to second period before we actually end the match.
So you practice against them?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
So we
that
do
would
all of
suck,
our
dude.
moves. If you see Laith working his moves on kids, it's kind of funny. They can't really do anything about it, and then just get tossed around like a rag doll.
Right.
So you're toying with them.
They're working moves.
Working
Yes,
moves.
yes.
Yeah, we're working moves. We're just practicing.
When you say toying with it sounds like we're cocky. about it.
Okay, yeah.
No, we're not cocky about it. I mean, we're still right after the match, and we're not flexing on the kid.
Got you.
Shaking his hand, saying, "Good job, you did good." Shaking the coach's hand and running off the mat.
So you're really just preparing yourself for what
Yeah.
comes later
Yes,
down the road
exactly.
and making sure
Yeah.
that your craft is honed.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, we have 7 kids on the team, right? So you don't
Right.
have a lot of kids in your weight classes trying to move up or wrestling
Yeah,
JV.
exactly.
So you can't really you're not really working your guys' own weight classes. So these kids are just another way to practice for those bigger
Yeah.
matches coming
Plus,
up.
a lot of kids, their defense is different, or they get into different positions.
Sure.
They get into weird scrambles. I know, I know a bunch of kids where they have just insanely heavy hips, or they have this exact, they call it a whizzer. They're really good at whizzering, some kids. So you get
What's a
to
wizard?
practice.
What's a wizard?
All right, so
Brian's a good wizard.
Yes.
it's where you get in on a
Sounds
shot.
Harry Potterish to me, you know, or is that wizarding, I guess. But some people,
I was thinking of Cheese Whiz.
oh,
The bear.
It's a defense to a shot. It's weird. It's like you put your hand on your leg, and your arm strapped here, and
You can really pry on
Those are like
someone's
the
shoulder right there too. If you get a
yeah.
chin whizzer.
gotcha.
But in terms of wrestling style, it's been pretty cool. So my wrestling style has changed a crazy amount from my freshman year to
Sure.
now. Freshman year, it used to be like get leg taken down. That was it.
Yeah.
Find a way to grab his leg and just take him down, and it worked at that point. And then sophomore year, I started to become learning better moves. Better. If I put this hand down, I can get to the leg better.
Yep.
Right. And then if I take this step, I can get in better and cleaner.
Right.
And then now as a senior, Coach Christensen, when I go into a match, he tells me this is the shot I want. This is the only shot you can hit. So if it's a single leg, like he wants me to set it up throughout the match. He doesn't just want me to just get it on the leg and just run the kid over because he knows I can do that.
Sure.
So he wants me to get in nice and clean finish, controlled finish, things like that. So it's like you said, technician. That's what it started to become.
Nice.
Actually thinking the match a little bit than just
Yeah.
pure physical
Yeah,
brute force.
being in control the whole match.
It sounds like he's directing you to this kid, or this is what I want you to work.
Yeah.
Next kid, so we're working on something
Yeah.
every day. That's pretty cool.
Coming
That's-
back to in practice, the Wiggins wrestling program used to be huge, right? We had
Yep.
2-3 kids at each weight. How do you guys practice without that? With only 7 of you in the room, and you had Pepper at 190, Reagan at 125. How are we getting after that in this gym?
I say usually Christensen roll with Laith
Okay.
most of the time. Me and Laith roll around, but most of the time I work with Jorge and Checo and help them, increase their skill and to help push them, break them mentally in practices. We have some practices like that where Christensen wants me to beat the crap out of these dudes until they just can't move, can't even get out of bottom, tears rolling down their face, just mentally break them because, I went through that my freshman and sophomore year.
And these are underclassmen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But and then in the room, you think about it, a big wrestling team, you can't work many. Coach can't have one-on-one time with everybody. But we only got 7 guys. Coach Christian said we can work nice moves and he can watch everybody at the same time without not watching this kid the whole time.
Sure.
So I feel like that's why like I said earlier, you were talking about rankings. And we only got half the team, but we're still up there in the rankings. I feel like that's why.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
To have, a quarter of the kids some of these bigger schools probably
Yeah.
have, and I shouldn't say bigger schools, but bigger teams in our state bracket, and to be in the top 10 is huge. It shows what you guys are doing as far as points are going, but it talks about the depth of the team. The few kids we have are being pretty successful at their weights. So who else on your team should we be looking at? Maybe not surprise you guys, but maybe kind of the Wiggins fans. We all have athletic fans. Some of us aren't as knowledgeable as in the wrestling. I'm not. I'm just going to tell you, I'm not. I know you guys are good. Who else should I be looking at regionals, at state, to possibly break through?
Yeah. I feel like all 7 can
Yeah.
honestly make it. But the thing about wrestling is it's a huge mental game.
Sure.
So, if all 7 are able to tone in their mental skills and go out and be confident, I feel like everybody can make it. But the ones that I wouldn't be surprised about at all would be Michael Pacheco and Jorge.
Okay.
Jorge's coming back. He made it to state last year as a freshman. But the only thing is that this year we're in a tougher region. I still think he can make it. He's got real tough kids in his bracket. But I feel like he can still make it. Michael Pacheco, he's been wrestling real good, just as long as He doesn't try no stupid moves. Then.
Well, get stuck.
Is that what we do?
Try a stupid move and get stuck.
He'll
Yeah.
try throwing kids.
Oh, gotcha.
So he wants to go that brute strength.
Sometimes it works.
Instead of the technician side of it?
Yeah.
So guys, explain to me, regionals are today and tomorrow, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do we got to do, or what does each individual have to do to make it to state?
Right.
Preparation is number one, absolutely, through the season. Just getting as tight as you can every single day in practice. And then preparation before the match, too.
Sure.
That's like either a lot of kids will watch their opponent, but that only psychs yourself out.
Yeah.
If you see them get a move on a kid that may have already beat you. Say a kid is wrestling a kid that you've already been beaten by, and he beats the crap out of the kid that beat you, then right there you're just
Oh, man,
you're
no.
like, man, I can't even.
Yeah. Well, what do you got to finish at regionals to
Top
advance?
four.
Top four.
Yes, sir.
So how many teams are in the region this year? I know it changes kind of wherever you're placed.
I have no idea, but it's mainly the schools that are in that Sterling area, like Ray, Yuma,
Holyoke, Caxton,
Holyoke.
Reno.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
North Central,
Yeah.
PAA League,
Yeah.
plus don't we pull some from the south
Yeah, I bet.
come up?
Yeah, last year's regionals was real weird. We went all the way to Rocky Ford.
Oh,
For what
geez.
reason, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
this third of the state. Just,
With our 7 guys, where we kind of sit, where's everybody at? Where's Reagan sitting? Do we know? I didn't look that deep into it.
I mean, rankings are really based off how you do at state to the prior year.
Okay.
So, I mean, the only people that are really going to be ranked are me, Pepper, and Jordan.
Gotcha. That
So,
makes sense.
Gotcha. Now, we touched a little bit about it, just preparation, right? And you guys are preparing for years for this. Your senior year, that's probably kind of feels surreal to be your senior year. This is your final hurrah. But when I look at all the sports, right? Wrestling is just so mental. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have a team. You're a part of a team, but it's an individual sport. So you're having a tough day. Like the other day, you're having a tough day. You can't look to your teammates and be like, "Hey man, pick me up." It's you on that mat.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it sets wrestlers apart from any other athlete. I think the mental toughness of a wrestler is incredible. Like you look at the sport I do with CrossFit, wrestlers are always super good at it because they're not afraid to get in that pain cave and hurt for an extended period of time because that's what they're used to. They practice at that high intensity and that stuff. When you're on the mat and you're relying on your mental toughness, how do you silence any negative thoughts? Like last week, Pepper, you're wrestling a kid you know you're going to see at state, you know you're going to see at regionals, who goes up in points. When he goes up in points, are you like, well, this is freaking it? Or how do you regroup and be like, I'm better than this kid and I'm going to show him? Or is that something you struggle with every match?
It's I think I have on and off days with it, but I wouldn't say it was an off day. I don't know what got into me, but
Sure.
I was just like I was wrestling to not lose instead of wrestling to win. I was wrestling to not lose once I was up.
And that's a mindset as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And at the end, I heard him. I saw the mat boy start the tapper to come out on the mat.
That's what I
And
would have
then-
been in high school, by the way.
Matt Boy?
Yeah.
I would have been cleaning up.
Yeah.
after the
Greeley
match.
West,
Yeah,
Matt Boy. Yeah, that would have been my title. Go
Right
ahead.
then-
Sorry.
No,
I cut everybody off. So
Yeah, right then is when I thought about the score and I was like, damn, I'm down 8-6. And, you start to freak out. And I get in on a shot and start driving.
Mhm.
Didn't finish it. So it's definitely something I'm not going to let happen again. So,
Well, and what's crazy
I
about
think-
wrestling versus other sports as well is like quarters, halftime, where we get a break to regroup, come back, huddle up, and the coach can be like, don't wrestle to not lose, wrestle to win, right?
Right.
That doesn't happen like in wrestling, right? You just have the short little
So quick.
get up, reset.
Yeah.
No talk. So what have you worked on without giving your secrets away with Coach this week to make sure when you see this kid again, you're out of your own head?
So we went and we got some wrestling in with some other partners. I don't know if we're allowed to say.
Yeah, you can be quiet.
But so we wrestled
Keep your
some
secrets.
pretty good other kids from other schools. Just got a little practice in, and I had a kid. It was a kid that had beat me earlier in the season, but I avenged my win.
In a
I
different
avenged my
classification?
loss. Yeah, a different
Gotcha.
class. But
You hear that, Peyton Wade? We're coming for you, dude.
Yeah, baby.
Right there. Yeah, he's watching. You watching?
and see, I guess wrestling other kids are kind of have raised a lot of different. Like I could say, last year, kid in Bauer pulled a different, completely weird moves on me. Say Peyton Wade, I've never had a tilt thrown on me, so
They'll change it up on you a little
yeah,
bit.
they're different. They have some different technique skills than usually kids that we wrestle. So I got some new partners this week to help me with through different positions. Because when I wrestle Jorge, we get in the same like 4 positions every
Right.
single every takedown. When I wrestle Checo, we get into some weird positions. Checo's he knows a lot of moves. I don't know if you say
Right?
not
So-
100% all of them.
Gotcha. But
I'll talk to Pepper a little bit on that. I mean, in my opinion, Pepper beats that kid by a lot of points. That was my expectation. But the thing that Pepper's been working on this week is how he goes into the match on a being mentally ready to wrestle. And would you see Pepper when he's mentally ready to wrestle? He dominates.
watch out.
But it's just got to be that consistency, which he's been working on. He's been doing good with recently. So
Turn that switch on and be ready to that killer instinct
Yeah,
and
sure.
not be afraid.
And you've podiumed the last 2 years at state, correct?
Yes, sir.
So going into this year, your senior year, you're a favorite to take state. Do you have like a mantra you go into every match, like wrestle to win, wrestle to win? Keep telling
Yeah.
yourself,
It's I tell myself, wrestle like the best you've ever wrestled, like wrestle the most technical. So I always tell myself, wrestle through, and especially when I get tired, you can get gassed real quick. So you can go and practice and just for the whole 2 hours, like constantly moving, but it's completely different when you step out on the mat like that. The 6 minutes are nothing near the 2 hours that you wrestle in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I always have to tell myself is to stay in good position and technical when you get tired, because that's what matters the most. Is you can give up a lot of points even when just like while being tired.
Well,
See, trip, fall on your back while you're tired, boom, 5 points right there.
it sounds like you've worked on that, right? Like you said, practice is the hard part.
Yeah.
Shoot, you grinding for 2 hours. So this 9-minute match, this is the fun part, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Practice always sucks.
I know when I walk through the gym, I see you guys walking out and just drenched head to toe. Walk us through kind of what you're doing in there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wink,
Because
wink.
I always remember watching the Greeley West wrestlers go in to practice about the same time we went into practice. And I always knew I got to go home and eat.
No.
And some of those kids didn't, right? Because they're
another
trying to make weight. But yeah, just let us know, what's your practices like?
Yeah, I mean, it can be very different. I mean, sometimes we'll be real technical. We're not going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we're going to go for a shorter amount, that 2 hours, and we're going to be maybe 1 or 2 water breaks, and it's hard the whole
Just
time.
crush it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Pepper said, it's a lot of drilling. So drilling is just letting your partner take you down, letting your partner hit his moves, rather than a lot of live.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do go live, it's for a long time.
Sure, you got to get as tight as you can. We'll do some drills where, like I say, one person's in, but you have 3 other dudes that tag in and out.
Man, that's
Ugh.
Oh, tag team wrestling.
So right
Yeah.
when you score,
yeah.
right when you score, the next dude comes in, and that guy that's in the center's in there for like 8 minutes.
And
wow.
yeah, you're expected to score each time too, even when you're
Yeah.
tired. And a new fresh kid comes in, and they're working you, pushing you. You're still expected to score, even while you're
Yeah.
tired. So you
I'm
know,
sure coaches.
coaches yelling
Yeah.
in your ear, and I think you kind of have to ignore that part. Like, let it drive you to get your shot, but if you take it to the heart, that's when you're gonna mentally break. So you got to know that he's pushing you.
So in practice, we're not only working on the physical side of it, he is working that mental side.
Yes,
of it.
100%.
I mean,
We'll do some of our drilling practices. We'll go first half of the day. We'll do some mindset training, like just talk over some stuff, how to cope with like anxiety and pre-match nerves and expectations of other people.
Yeah.
But how to block all that stuff out. You know, people come up to you at the state event and be like, "Yo, we're so excited to see you wrestle this year." Like, yeah, you're gonna win it.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. That just how to block that stuff out and just stay tuned in.
Yeah, because you can either block that out or you can use it, right? Because at the state tournament, I think it would fire you up to be like, people are here to see me.
Yeah.
People have never seen me wrestle before, and I get to show this off. And I know, like, the volleyball girls at state, to get them dialed in, I always say, hey, people haven't seen you play here. So show them.
Yeah.
Give them a show. Give them a show of what we're made of, because then it
Yeah.
keeps them from coming out like flat. They're like, hey, man, there's people in the, you know, that was Michael Jordan's thing. Michael Jordan always said, I always play like there's somebody that came here that has never seen me. Yep. So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess people can take random people coming up and saying, hey, we're rooting for you, you gotta win this one, you know?
right.
People, you can take that two different ways. You can use it as motivation, like you said, or it's gonna be like, man, this guy's really, like, I can't lose now.
Yeah, the pressure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just added
Too
pressure,
much
right?
that Added anxiety, things
Mhm.
like that.
Do you guys still get nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah,
single-
Every match.
Even if I beat the kid by a lot, I mean, I guarantee you when I go to wrestle this rig, you're gonna be nervous again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird. My nervous before a wrestling match is really weird. I start yawning.
Oh, really?
My
Yeah.
head
Yep.
starts telling me that my
Every
body's
So I've been
tired.
yawning so much on this podcast, you're a little nervous to be here
No,
in
I'm
the
actually
grace of
tired
us
right
two,
now.
right? What's going on?
But no, I'll start yawning, and then I'm at the point where I'm like, that's just my head playing games. I know
Sure.
I'm ready.
Right.
'Cause then right when I go out there and I slap hands, I'm fine.
I've always heard, nervous, right? And I always tell my kids this, it means you care. Right? If you're nervous, it's okay. It's okay. Now it's how we handle those nerves that sets us apart from them, because they're nervous too, right? Because you wouldn't be here if you don't care. Now, how do you channel that nervous energy?
Christensen always tells us that, he's like, he'll ask us, he's like, what's the difference between being nervous and being excited? Like your mindset. So, you feel the nerves and you just think like, oh no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get this opportunity to compete. I'm excited to whoop this kid and show that I can do it. Just all that stuff, etc.
I love that mindset.
Now, when you look at state, you look at regionals, right? It's kind of, you come in healthy or as healthy as you can.
Yeah.
And you probably leave that weekend not as healthy and not as strong as you were, right? You're just kind of, it's a battle of attrition through the whole thing. What are you guys doing from that first match to that last match nutritionally, sleep-wise, routine-wise, to keep it as normal and as fueled as we can, right?
Like from regionals, the first match to the last match.
Yeah, or
So the
state,
second-
like these long grueling tournaments.
And with that, what were we looking at? For how many matches are you guys probably looking at getting in this weekend?
So this weekend, mine, just because I usually have smaller brackets, only about 3 matches. I bet I wrestle once today and then 2 times tomorrow.
Right.
But nutrition-wise, I mean, I'd say eat what you've been eating. Don't switch it up all of a sudden. So if you've been eating really healthy, and you go and eat a greasy cheeseburger, you're not gonna perform as well. But I mean, if you've been eating those cheeseburgers throughout the entirety of the season,
Right.
it's probably best you just stick to that.
Are you guys, like say you wrestle tomorrow at 10 and then you wrestle a championship match? I'm making this totally up.
I don't know.
Oh, is it that long? Are you eating? Are you taking a nap, or are you just like, man, I'm so nervous for this next match. I'm not doing anything.
We got me, Pepper, and one of our friends from another school. We're usually in the finals at each tournament.
Mhm.
So what we do before each finals match, because it's usually an insane amount of time between the semifinals and then the finals, because you got to wrestle all the backside.
Constellation.
Like you got to figure out who's 3rd and 4th, who's 5th and 6th,
Mhm.
7th, 8th, stuff like that. So we usually go and we'll go take a shower, get cleaned up, switch into our final singlet. We've got a final singlet.
Ooh,
They're nice.
yeah. It's like Tiger Woods on a Sunday, man. Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll even go for a walk outside, or taking a nap, things like that. So you got to figure out how to stay mentally locked in within the 4 hours you have in between matches, and it gets hard.
But you can
Are you
hustle
able
if
to
you
eat?
can.
Are you able to eat like full meals, or are you just
Uh,
snacking through the whole day?
Well, if we have to weigh in the next day, so then I'm just snacking, probably drink a couple
Also,
Gator
will you guys
Lights.
weigh in today and tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So
They don't
still
just
gotta
give
make-
you like a, you're
You should
good.
be able to go.
Yeah, you're good,
Yeah,
man.
They give you an extra pound.
2 pounds, I think.
Oh,
Or
they
it
give
might
you,
be
they
1
give you a
pound.
little.
It's a pound a day.
Oh,
Yeah.
But,
Is that hard to maintain?
I mean, not really. Like, say you get done with the match, you just throw your hoodie back on, go for an extra jog real quick, lose some weight. But
What about the times like, and guys, I could be making this up, but say you have a day at state, you've wrestled 2 or 3 times, I don't know, and you get beat up. Like, are you gaining weight because of inflammation? Are you gaining weight because of stuff like that?
I don't know if
Retaining water?
inflammation could be.
Honestly.
No,
I've never had.
I'm trying to
I've
get all
never had a
sciencey.
problem with that.
Science, you guys, yeah. It's a big deal. Science is
At
big.
state, it's like, I think on the last day, it's like, so already after winter break, you get 2 pounds extra on each weight
Oh,
class.
Christmas poundage.
Yeah, so it's not 285, it's 287.
Christmas cookies,
We're
Auburn,
all
that's what
there.
we're talking.
Everybody gets.
Yep.
And it's not 190, it's 192 now, and that's at every tournament. But wrestling has it to where like, so tomorrow it'll be 193, right, for you?
Yeah.
So 3 pounds over what the
Oh,
original
gotcha.
weight class is. And then at state, I believe, is it 2 day, 2 the first day? It's either 2 or 1 the first day, so at the end, you can actually be like 4, 5
So you're
pounds
wrestling
over,
big,
but
yeah.
you're actually
Yeah.
making weight for your weight class.
Do you ever get there? You do.
No,
Do you ever? I mean, you're always good, but have you ever gone to where, oh no, maybe I'm too much?
I think was the last time I had to like actually put on a hoodie and run was the Northern Colorado Christmas Classic
Mhm.
tournament, and yeah, that one sucked. I was running pretty much that night.
Is that the
'Cause-
one where you two went a separate way to a
Yes, sir.
tournament and
Yeah.
the actual team went another way,
Yeah,
correct?
it was.
Kind of like an invite only, right?
Yeah, it was a very high quality tournament. I mean, within my bracket alone,
Three or four
I
state
had-
champions.
I had about four state champions, including myself.
Well, I was talking to, while that was going on, I saw Eric Penfold down there. I don't know if if you've heard of Coach Penfold that used to coach
Yeah.
here. Well, Eric
Mhm.
was a state champ that went to school here.
Yeah.
I grew up with. I saw him in Greeley, and he was talking about you too. And he said it's a very high quality tournament, and those kids deserve to be here. So that was big praise from him, and he used to coach Central for years.
That tournament's also good because we both got some losses.
Mhm.
So we both had kids that actually got to beat up on us.
Nice.
And I'd say I had a match that I should not have lost, but it was still good.
Yeah.
I think it was better that I lost though, so that I wasn't undefeated and rolling around cocky because I got another fire lit under my butt.
Sure.
You probably learn more from that than what you
Yeah.
guys are doing all year long.
Yeah, adversity and challenges,
Right.
it's just sharp, iron sharpens iron, right? When you go to those places, the better the kids are, right? Those are the ones where you're like, bring it on. I'll
Right.
take losses. I don't care.
I mean, even that tournament proved that no matter what level you're at, like I went into a match in the quarterfinals against this 5A state champ from Brighton, and right there it was my mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost by 1 point, but I scored at the very end of the match when I finally decided to wrestle. I scored 3 points in 20 seconds.
Right.
Because you thought he was from a bigger school, he's better.
Yeah. And I mean, I regret losing that match
Mm-hmm.
because I know I could have won it. And I wish I could have wrestled him again, but I just couldn't.
Right.
Well, let's sanction it. Let's do let's get all of the champions and let's go after. one
California
weekend.
does that.
That's what that was.
California does it.
We'll get it right here in Wiggins.
They have their state
Yeah.
levels, and then they have a true state champion. I think we should do that.
Let's get it done.
Add a couple matches to everybody.
Yeah. And
Let's see it.
the crazy thing is that, so the kid from Valley that I always wrestled, the 3A state champ, he made it to the finals, and I got third. You guys, I was so because I was excited to wrestle this one kid. He's from Mesa Ridge. Actually, he got second this last year. He was supposed to be a 4-time state champion. Lost to this kid from Montrose last year, and I was excited to wrestle him in finals because I feel like I was the only one that had a chance to beat him.
Right.
So the Brighton kid, right after our match, he medical forfeits out of the tournament.
Oh,
His back got real hurt after our match. I don't know what happened. So
you
then-
happened, man.
Yeah.
You happened.
So then the Valley kid makes it to finals without even having a tough match, and he got pinned in the third period. But I was right after I got my medal, I just walked out.
Yeah.
You see, that's
I was so mad.
the kid that won, beat me, semifinals round, won it. That was a match that I benched my loss. It was a 3-2 match. But I see. I did get to wrestle another kid though who was the number 1 seed, which was good because he got upset.
Number one in what division?
He's I think 4A Roosevelt.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Roosevelt,
Rough
yeah.
Riders.
Yeah. That's right. Bronco, he's pretty good kid.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
His name's Bronco.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
a player. Yeah, this kid's legit.
Yeah, he's a pretty good kid.
With that name, you better be, right? You're set up for.
But you
Stardom.
You got him?
No, that was my second loss.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
All
But
right,
it was still a pretty good match. I gassed out, was being soft. So after that,
Do you know
I
you're being
needed-
soft at that time? Or is this a look back and like, damn, man, I was being soft? Or are you like,
I don't
bitch,
know, honestly.
quit being soft?
No,
In your head.
You know you're being soft.
Yeah.
You do.
In
You
that
do.
Brighton-
And it's just like
in that
hard to
match-
change, huh?
How do you break it out?
In that match I lost, I knew I was being soft.
Yeah.
And then when I finally score, I'm like, okay, no, I need to win. I can't lose. And then I see and they tap and they call it match.
So you noticed it was just too late.
Yeah, I noticed. I knew I was being soft from the get go because I could have scored on this kid so many times.
That's how
Well, it's like,
Yeah.
it is. It's silencing your inner bitch.
Yeah.
Honestly, you go out there and you're like, dude, what is happening? But
I gotta
sometimes
swear
that voice is bigger,
It
right?
goes
It's just like,
across every level, every athlete, no matter what sport, anything, there's always that little bit of doubt
Yeah,
that
exactly.
sneaks in.
My
and it can cripple you.
Oh.
Yes.
my
We've all been
sophomore year, state finals. I wrestled this straight. So I wrestled grade 2 times in the state finals on 2 different kids. Probably 3rd time this year. So that would be nice.
It's,
to do grade 3 times.
Because the kid from
Yeah.
last year wrestled was from Ray.
Yeah.
That dude was big.
And he's just not wrestling this year, right? You heard his name?
Yeah, it hurts me. But sophomore year, I beat the Ray kid at regionals 14-6, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the state finals, first period, he takes a fake shot, I down block, and I cracked my nose on the back of his head.
Oh.
Really bad. I broke my nose.
Oh,
First period, like 20 seconds into the match, maybe. And then Christensen was telling me, I wasn't paying attention, but I almost ran out of blood time because my nose wouldn't stop bleeding.
oh, geez. How much time do you get to
Yeah,
stop?
5 minutes.
You have
5 minutes?
Yeah.
And it was bleeding for like the whole 5 minutes.
Can't hold your mud. Remember
I
that?
do.
Vision Quest.
It's a great movie.
Have you guys seen that movie? I'm sure you have.
Yes, sir, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why we put up the peg.
Oh, it's just because of Vision Quest. Yeah.
That was it. Oh, I'm going up.
You get 5 minutes to stop
I didn't
bleeding.
realize that.
And then
Okay.
there's more time for cleanup. And it's
Oh.
5 minutes for the whole match. So if I were to start bleeding again,
It's done?
and if I run out of that, it's a forfeit.
Whoa.
So I almost ran out, and like I've got like 2 in each nostril or something like that, and then I got 1 right here because I started throwing up the blood.
Oh, sure. Swallowing it down,
And,
yeah.
so then I go back out and wrestle. First period, I take some crappy shot and start running, and the kid throws me to my back. State finals, I'm now down 5-0 in the first period. After the second period, I was literally having a conversation with myself in my head while I was in the middle of wrestling. I'm like, dang, I was telling myself I can only be a 2-time state champ now. Like,
Oh, gosh.
I'm failing and all this stuff. And then I take a shot. I remember it very vividly. I take a shot and I score 5-2. Right there, I switched. I'm going to score.
Mhm.
Like, I'm going to win this match. And then I'm still down 5-2
Right.
going into the third period. It was 6-2 actually because I let him up. I'm pretty sure last second. So now it's third period, and I don't know how, but I scored like 7 points in 1 period.
Mm.
And then going into overtime, 9-9. And that kid knew if he let me score, I was gonna win.
Right.
So he takes some really shitty shot on me, and then I get
Oopsies.
around, and it was just like, no way, I just did that.
Mhm.
And even though it was a kid that I beat the crap out of at regionals, I was like, no way, I just did that.
Yeah, man. under the lights, state
Yep.
championship, people are going to wrestle
Butterflies
to
come
a
in.
different level, and some kids are going to wrestle to a different. Yeah,
But it's kind of fitting that you say, you remember that whole vividly of him kicking your butt right there at the beginning, right? And then you finally taking your shot. And then you said, I don't know how I came back after that. So you forget the rest of it.
Yeah.
But you remember that one thing that turned the mindset, that turned you around to make you.
Did you have those discussions with yourself at state the last 2 years? Do you have anything where you're like, God, man, I let that one go?
Yeah,
that
my,
one get away.
my semifinals match, it was a kid that I had beat the week before regional. Was a Ray kid. So I beat him like 10-1. And before the match, I was just thinking like, oh, sweet, finals. Like, I'm going straight to finals.
Right,
Like,
I've
I'm going
kicked
like,
this kid's ass. I'm good to go.
right?
Yeah.
So that's something I had to learn, is to not look past anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I see we walk out. I don't know if I was up. I don't really remember the match, but I just remember the point where like I got down, but I was on top. He goes to stand up,
Thank you,
just
Albert.
like reaches below.
Our live guest audience has to leave. I think it's next class. Yeah.
She's the best.
Reaches below, does those some weird moves I was talking about earlier. But
Wizards.
grabs my
We're
foot.
weird wizards. Yeah.
You can't really score out of
Yeah.
a wizard, but-
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Pepper. Sorry.
And yeah, so sorry, what was the question that you asked?
Oh, just what kind of discussions you had with yourself?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I remember getting up off that mat, and I was just like, man, I don't even know. Like, I can't really put it into words. Just disappointment that
Deflated.
let someone that I was a lot way better than beat me. And same thing this weekend. I had to get a refocus match. So
And how do you? Okay, you lost in the semifinals. You got to wrestle back, whatever, get third or fourth, right? How do you get yourself up? I mean, you're deflated. You're like, I might have just let the state championship go.
I was kind of pissed off, and I was like, I got to prove myself that I should not have lost that match.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is that the number 2 kid that was, I guess he was rejected, some stupid projections before that,
Mm-hmm.
before the tournament. He was supposed to beat me,
Mm-hmm.
upset me in the finals, whatever. But he also got upset, but I had to learn that those blood rounds, that I needed to fight through those blood rounds. They call them blood rounds.
What's
yeah.
that? I
So,
like this. This
the
sounds
rounds-
awesome. Sounds
The
badass.
rounds to score. So like I was saying, how there's a big gap between semifinals and finals. Those are the blood rounds in there. Who's
Oh.
gonna get a place? Who's gonna get on the podium?
Oh,
So-
gotcha.
That's all
Those-
those kids are
That's
fighting.
awesome.
That is fun. Do you guys
Sometimes
watch
those-
the movie Bloodsport?
Oh my God.
Probably don't get to do that.
No,
No, okay.
no, that's
It's not the
Kumite. Yeah,
Kumite?
this is Kumite.
Okay.
Sometimes those matches are more interesting than the finals matches.
Well, they're fighting for their
Oh,
lives,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. And
And I think
So
it
I
is
got
because you're
the-
hungry and pissed off. And
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I think that's where it really, you find your grit, right? Who you are as
Yeah,
a person.
exactly.
How you gonna respond to when you lose?
Right. And like you last year coming back and doing what you did, because coming into it number 1, all these expectations, and then just the bottom to drop out like it did for you to come back.
Well, and he'd beaten the kid and this
Right.
and that. And it's kind of like you need that Navy SEAL mentality, right? When they're going through buds, that Navy SEAL mentality of I'm just making it to the next meal.
Yeah.
You can't look at it as I'm going to be here for 5 weeks or 6 weeks getting my ass kicked. It's like, just like every match, just win this one, make it to the next one.
Yeah. That's,
I'll worry about that then.
Yeah,
that's huge.
that's one match at a time.
Make
Uh,
1 foot in front of there, make it to the next meal, and then we'll deal with that. And then we'll deal with those negative thoughts instead of like, man, if this works out and this works out and this works out, I could be wrestling this kid in the finals. It's like, get there, bitch.
Right.
Seriously, you got to freaking wrestle. Don't worry about that.
That
Get to the
mindset,
next one.
I like that mindset. Actually.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've heard that. I mean, I've heard like variations, but
Yeah.
now that I think about it, like that's
Keeps
it's
them
just
from
normal
quitting.
life.
They're
It's
like,
just normal
I will
life.
quit. I'd heard it so many times, numerous guys, because I like those books when they're dealing through buds, and they're like, if I would have thought about the whole thing, negative thoughts would have come in, and I would have quit. But I always thought, get to the next meal, and then they eat, and they're like, and then get to the next.
Not so bad.
Yeah,
That
I
gets
mean,
them through.
Survive in advance.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, outside of wrestling, I use that when we go on a semi-wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out there and it's like, I don't see an end to this.
Right.
Jeez. I remember one job, it was McDonald's boxes
Oh.
and last chance, and it's freezing and it's snowing and it's like 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember me and Muhammad, we go and we sit down in one of our trucks waiting, just getting warm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was said. We just sat there. We just sat there and we looked out at the road like we're like, I don't know how we're gonna do this.
How do you eat an elephant, man? That's how you eat an elephant, bite by bite.
Yeah.
Sometimes you start at the booty hole.
Yeah.
Right?
That's they did, man. All those boxes, they're like freaking cold. They're
Let's
like
get the worst done first.
starting
right?
with the booty hole on this one, but it'll get better. It'll get better.
And we finally said, right, we can't just sit in here. We just got to go back out and start throwing boxes up.
Yeah.
And it eventually came to an end.
Box by box. Yeah.
This question is not for you, because I don't think you've ever had to do this. But we're talking about meals, right? And we're talking about eating very, very minimal.
Yeah.
How is it? Because I know when I was coaching weights here and teaching the PE classes and all of that, and the wrestlers were awful during wrestling season. I mean,
Like
awful. They
cranky.
were hangry
Yeah.
constantly. So how do you? I mean, I look at it when you're just in the weight room working out. You want to eat, right? You got to fuel the body. You got to
Yeah.
be able to go. So when you've got to make weight, and for you it might not be too hard at 190, but those kids that are cutting weight and making sure they have to be there.
Those
What's
120s.
the mindset
Yeah.
you talked about, that Navy SEAL mindset? There is no next meal. Your next
Right.
meal might just be water.
Mhm.
So what are we doing? How are we getting through that? Because to me, that's always been, like Brian talked about at the beginning of this, wrestlers are a different breed, right? It's a
Different breed.
mindset.
Different.
And to me, that self-discipline has always been extremely impressive, something that I lack.
I think it's what I look forward to is after, because like while I'm cutting, like say the night before, I'll be getting some insane cravings. I cannot stop myself from trying to grab something from the pantry or
Mhm.
so the cravings are
Mama
just
locked that
terrible.
door.
That's what. But you just think like, man, this is what I think in my head. I'm like, if I were to not make weight, what's Christensen gonna do? So that's exactly what I think.
The
every
fear
time.
coach.
Yeah, that's the worst. And then the second part is like not being able to wrestle a kid like a kid I was supposed to see. I see the Akron tournament. I just got back from Mexico. I was like 10 pounds over. The tournament's
Oh.
in 3 days.
Dear Lord.
Oh,
And,
but you came back from Thanksgiving. Yeah. Okay.
And there was a kid at the time. He was like number 2 or something like that I was supposed to wrestle. And I was thinking like, if I don't get to wrestle this kid just because I didn't make weight, then that's gonna look real bad.
And you got to
But,
live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the other kids, like Jorge, we'll make some. Me, Shannon, Daryl, we'll whip up some chicken and rice and bring them to the tournaments a lot. We usually have like 6, and we kind of give them to some other kids that need a meal.
It's a good quality fuel.
So yeah, but it's just like looking forward to like after weigh-ins we'll actually get to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually it's not a 2-day tournament. You just gotta make it that one day.
Right.
But this
Make
weekend,
it to your next meal.
Because
Yeah.
my golly, it's just like
No,
over
if
and
you do it
over.
you gotta
right,
be smart.
yeah. If you're not
Pepper's smart with it.
being like I can say undisciplined, then you're fine. Like say you can have a cheat meal Sunday, you can eat whatever you want Sunday, but come Monday it's just
You're back.
drink tons of water. That's insane. Overload on water, and then stay low. Like don't drink extra calories because that's what gets
So
you.
no
is drinking
lemonades.
calories. Yeah,
Shouldn't drink any calories. Yeah, exactly.
but
So you're in the
you overload
ballpark
on
every
water,
time. Yeah.
You're staying right there. But
and then once you get close, you cut the water, and like you should be fine. You should feel better. But if you're not disciplined, then that's what kills you.
so is that why Christensen's eating lunch with you guys every day the last 3-4 weeks? I see
Or
him
he
sitting
sits at
over there.
lunch with us.
Is
Yeah.
he making sure the diet's clean?
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
I mean, Pepper does really good with weight cutting. He's real smart with it. But like some kids, like you'll see the kids running right before the tournament with Pepper.
Oh, yeah. All sorts of.
It's because those kids tried cutting weight a day before the tournament rather than spreading it out throughout the whole week. So anytime you see the kid with the hoodie on running right before the tournament, it's because of that.
Mm.
Or turning the showers on.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
and the fire alarm goes off. I don't know how many times that's happened in the locker room where, in before tournaments, all the kids are in there. You got the scale over here and the water's
Steam,
on. Every
yeah.
single kid is in there from every school and they're wearing their stuff. It's like, what's going on?
Jeez.
That's funny.
So we excited for today? We nervous?
I'm
We
excited.
ready to get,
I'm
is this
excited.
just one in your head? Is this a necessary step for me to get to my goal next week?
It's just another match.
For me, it's I gotta avenge some bad mental
Yeah, you
mistakes
got
from last
unfinished
weekend.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I gotta really make a statement tomorrow. So I won't wrestle him today. I'll wrestle him tomorrow.
Who do you open with, you know?
No idea, but I gotta focus on those
No big
matches
deal.
first. I
Yeah.
gotta focus on
Yeah.
the ones today.
We just know we got a match.
Sure.
That's perfect. That's all we need to know. I got to wrestle a kid and beat him today.
Yeah.
What time does this kick off today?
2. Weigh-ins are at 12. We start wrestling at 2.
Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Live
Excited.
from NJC.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That's awesome. We're going to have to talk about next week, talk about where they're at, and then probably have you guys back when we just sealed our deals, right? Yeah.
Sure.
That's great. That's great. Well, guys, thanks for joining us, man. Anything you guys want to say? Anything else you want to get out there?
Want to support?
Yeah,
Yeah.
come support. It's always great to have look in the stands and see your loved ones.
Absolutely.
Not today and
Black
tomorrow's.
knowledge.
Today and tomorrow's not as interesting as state, but state's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun to go up there and
That is-
Contact Michelle
that
Baker
is a show.
for
yeah,
tickets.
contract Michelle Baker will get your state tickets now. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for coming. Pleasure to have you guys on the podcast. It's great catching up with you. Good luck.
Let's rock
Good
it.
luck
Appreciate it.
tomorrow.
Thanks for having us.
And
Sure.
we'll talk about you next week before we get going on our podcast. But yeah, get it done.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, do your
Sure.
business. Go Tigers.
you.
Thank you.